Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Today sees the start of our previews for each team in the WSL ahead of the 2023-24 season, and we'll start off with Arsenal. Now, last season for Arsenal, as many will know, it was plagued by injuries to a lot of their key players, losing Beth Mead, Viviana Miedema, Leah Williamson, Laura Wubben-Moy all to ACLs at some point throughout the season, and that's where we saw Arsenal's form drop off because of the depth and the injuries that Jonas Side sustained, and obviously the long-term brilliance of Chelsea and Manchester United. So Arsenal finished in third place, but looking ahead to this season, and the signings that they've made have been very good. We've seen Alessia Russo finally come in on a free transfer after her Manchester United contract expired. We've seen Leia Cadena come in for Barcelona. We've seen Chloe Lacasse come in, and a late addition in Kyra Cooney-Cross from Hammarby. So they've made some good additions and helped the depth out, so I'm excited to see what these new players can bring to the WSL on a regular basis in this Arsenal lineup. One thing Arsenal won't have to worry about this season is Champions League games. Obviously last season we saw them get to the semi-finals of the Champions League before bowing out. However, this season, as you well know, they were knocked out in the first qualifying round to Paris FC, so they won't have to worry about too many games being clustered in and around like the Christmas or later on in the season. However, with that they will be playing in the group stages of the Conti Cup, but again, with them potentially going later in the tournament, I think the games work out there's less in the Conti Cup than in the Champions League. Another thing for Arsenal throughout the season, they'll be getting their key players back from these long-term injuries. So Beth Mead was obviously on the bench for them during their Champions League ties, but she was yet to make an appearance, so I think we'll probably see her in the first couple of weeks maybe of the season, maybe more towards November time. Then we'll have Vivian Miedema back. Again, Miedema should be around maybe just before Christmas. I'd expect her to be back, and then into the new year, later on March, April time, maybe see the return of Leah Williamson and Laura Wubben-Moy from their injuries. It's going to be an interesting season for Jonas Side, obviously not having to have the focus on the Champions League and being there. So I think we are going to be seeing Arsenal obviously up and amongst the top sides again, challenging for the title. Big loss for though Arsenal was at the back, where they lost Rafael Souza to the Orlando Pride this summer. Key part of Arsenal squad since she's arrived. The Brazilian centre half was absolutely fantastic for them, but now she's gone. Obviously they brought in Amanda Illerstedt on a free transfer. We saw what she was able to do at the World Cup, getting the amount of headed goals that she did, and looked really dangerous from set pieces, which Arsenal are known for in the past with Kate McCabe or Steph Catley on these set pieces. So whilst it is obviously a big loss losing Raffaele, I think adding Illerstedt in that back line as well as Leia Cadena could definitely help Jonas side out a lot. But you've got to give those two players a bit of time to adapt to the WSL. This is the first time that they're playing in these respective in this league from their respective clubs, and it's going to be very interesting to see over those first couple of weeks how they settle into the WSL. Looking at Arsenal's first couple of fixtures heading into this season, obviously they start the season at home to Liverpool at 2 o'clock, and then they have a Friday night game, I believe, against Manchester United, and then 2 games against Aston Villa at home, and then away to newly promoted side Bristol City to round off October. So a easy start for obviously Arsenal. Liverpool, they should win that game, and Bristol City on paper you would say they should win that game. Last season's obviously best of the rest teams were Aston Villa and the Manchester United, pipping Arsenal to second spot and getting that Champions League playoff spot ahead of them in the advanced round. So those would be the 2 fixtures that are definitely going to be looking out for over the coming weeks, and obviously that game against Manchester United, the return of Alessia Russo to face her former club obviously all eyes and attention will be on her in that game. But yeah, overall I'm expecting Arsenal to be right up there again, challenging for a title, and I would expect them to have a really good go in the season. And I think if we potentially see a link-up play of Blackstenius and Russo up top together, I think that could be very, very dangerous for many of the defences. But I think for the most of it, we'll probably see them interchanged. But one thing I am very intrigued to see how he plays out throughout the season, this is Jonas Eidevall of course, is how that midfield rotation goes now, because obviously you've got Kim Little, Leah Volti, Victoria Plover, Frida Leonardson-Mornham, who was absolutely their standout player last season. Now the addition of Kyra Cooney-Cross as well in there, Katrina Kuhl as well, so the depth of that midfield is going to be really interesting to see the rotation that they get, because it's now a lot of the younger players in that team. Obviously Volti and Kim Little are on the more experienced side of this Arsenal team, but with the more youthful additions I think we'll see a lot more rotation and not heavily having to rely on Kim Little, Leah Volti and Frida Leonardson-Mornham as much as they have done in the past. So that will allow more experimentation from Jonas Eidevall's side as the season goes on. So that's my thoughts on Arsenal's season. We'll have more of the WSL teams previews as the week goes on, as we build up towards the 1st of October, where the start of the season comes back around. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you never miss a video of ours, and that you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. And make sure you check out our podcasts as well, Women's Football Talk, on all the podcast sites, where we will be having a full in-depth preview of the WSL and all the talking points from around the world of women's football. In the meantime, we'll see you soon.